Yeah, budget filming.
Yo!
And it looks like it's going to have to be modified straight out of the packet. So what's unusual about that?
Who needs to... Oh shit, Garage Cage!
The ice actually makes the door more rigid. Today in Garage K we'll be investigating a noise that's coming from the engine of the Every. Okay, thoughts. I'm thinking that it could be the, the bearing on the AC compressor. It could be the bearing on the alternator, or it could be the rubber inside the crank pulley. It could also be dodgy belts. So what I'm going to do first, I think, is loosen off and remove the belt from the aircon compressor, because it is on the outside. Also, if the aircon is fucked, well, then it doesn't really matter. Just remove it and then get a new air compressor later. If the alternator is fucked, well, then we can't drive it. So I hope that it's the AC compressor. I remove the belt and the noise is gone. But I'm thinking that it's most likely going to be the rubber inside the crank pulley. I do have a spare one of those, but I'll have to find it. And that will be a pain in the ass to do. So let's get removing this AC compressor. Now, depending on which model Every you have, this is a DA52V. This one actually came with a plate that covered all this up. So I removed that to make working on this thing a lot easier. You'll probably have to remove that if you have one. I don't, so I'm lucky. Now, the AC compressor is held on by one bolt at the top and then one bolt at the bottom, so it's not difficult to undo. Let's get to it. The bolt at the top here is a 12, and you can get in there fairly easy with a regular old spanner. Let's loosen that off now. There we go. Couple of turns of that should be enough. I just want to loosen it enough that so that I can get it up out of the way, get the belt off, and then bolt it back up again so it doesn't rattle. Now I have to get the one from underneath. Or could it be two? I have to double check that. Actually, I was right, it's two. There's one there that goes through here, and the body of the AC compressor is tapped, so the bolt goes into it, and the same on the other side. So I'll just loosen those off. Wow, there's a lot of... It's interesting, there's a lot of salt and garbage sitting on top of this pulley. The other thing, actually, this could be is the water pump. It could be the water pump is going. That's a possibility. I hope that's not it. The problem with the Every is that the belt for the alternator also runs the water pump. So once I pull the alternator off, if the noise goes away, I'm not going to know whether it's the crank pulley, the water pump, or the alternator. Okay, got the AC belt off. Let's start her up and see how it sounds. Put on the clutch. So it is. Well, I'm not hearing the same noise I was hearing before, so that's a good sign. Or perhaps the noise has just lessened. Oh no, when you're outside the car you can hear it a lot worse. Yep, still there. Maybe even worse. Now for the alternator you're going to need a 12mm spanner for this one and this one. And then underneath, got a plane flying overhead, so that's not ideal. The next bolt is there. I got the top two off on the alternator. I've got to get that one undone, and I think I will get that with a 12 or 14mm spanner. Let's have a look. What are you? Is you a 12? Is you a 12? No, it's a 14. So everything else is a 12 except for this bolt. This, can't see shit. Can I come in from this angle? Can you go between the hoses? Yes. So everything is a 12 except for this bolt, which is a 14. Filming between these two hoses. I don't know what this is going to be. This sucks. Okay, that's quite far in there, and my spanner isn't long enough for me to get leverage on it. So if you link together your spanners like this, you can get a lot more leverage, and that should allow you to get it undone. And there it is. Okay, I've just got the alternator loose, and I did this. Now that to me sounds like the noise that I'm hearing. So maybe the belts are dry. Maybe they need belt lube. I know that's a thing, though I haven't seen it in Japan before. But that certainly could be the noise that I'm hearing. Now speaking to a mechanic friend of mine earlier, he said that if the rubber inside the crank pulley was gone, then chances are you'd be able to wiggle it. Now, I can't. There's no movement in that at all. So, you'd have to say that it's probably, well, I mean, it still could be that, but I don't think so, which is good. Well, that's not good. That could be the noise. In fact, it probably is. Okay, so I've got the alternator disconnected, and what that means is that the water pump will also be disconnected. So I'm going to start the car up. I can't leave it too long, otherwise the engine's going to heat up real quick. So let's see how this works. There we go. Keep an eye on that temp gauge. Much quieter. So it was something to do with that belt. Okay, so I've wiggled this. This doesn't make any noise. I've wiggled the aircon pulley. That doesn't make a noise. I've wiggled the alternator pulley. That doesn't make a noise. What did make a noise, as you saw before, was the water pump pulley. The water pump itself, when you span it, spun it, it made a noise. Now, nothing. How'd you fix that? Well, I called a very good mate who gave me a tip, and that tip was this. You find the water, like the drain hole here. See that? That is the out, like a warning sign that your water pump is ruined. It's a little bit green around there. That's kind of unnerving, but anyway, could have dripped down from the top. Spray a little bit of lubricant in there, so WD-40 or C56. I used, what is CRC 556. Little bit of a spray in there and shut it right up. Now, I have new belts, so I'm going to put new belts on it, and we'll start it back up and see if it's still making the noise. Alternator belt is on, just need to tighten it up. Now, there is no belt tension on this, so what you have to do is put a screwdriver down in there and then pull on it to get the alternator to move back this way to give you the tension that you need. However, I can't get the tension that I need for some reason. What have I done? Are we too tight? Or have I got the wrong size belt? Or what's happened here? Oh, our belt's a bit long. I might have used the wrong belt. I think that's what's happened. The wrong belt on it. Let's just redo that. This is the belt you're going to want to get for the alternator. It's a RAF K300. That's the alternator belt. And as I was saying, now to just give it a bit of a pull on there, give it some tension, and we'll tighten her up. You probably can't see what I'm doing, but that's okay. That. Okay. 2 bolts underneath, and was it 1 bolt? 1 bolt underneath. Okay, so we've got that belt back on. Let's start it up and see how we go. Put on the clutch, because that's a pain in the ass. Here we go. Fixed it. Beautiful. Thanks, Grant. This is the belt that I'm using for the AC compressor. Yours may be different. This is very difficult to get on, but once you get it on, it's quite sloppy. Because my van is a little bit modified out of the packet, having a carry engine in it, and I used a combination of carry brackets and things to get this all together. This is the one that I need. You might need one that's slightly longer, maybe a 2320, something like that. But yeah, that's the one I'm using. Do up the aircon compressor, and we'll start it up and see how she goes then. So here we go. Did it actually fix it? Running. I think that's, whoa, just dropped the phone. I think that's done. Yeah, I'm calling it. It's fixed. Well done. Thanks, Grant. Okay, story time. A little while ago, a friend visited me from the UK. His name is Saban. As I like to do with all of the guests that come and stay at my house, we went to Mount Takao, and it's a little bit of a hike up the side of a mountain there, and then you get to the summit and you can see Fuji. Then you walk back down again, and there's a temple or two on the way down. Yeah, so it's culture and it's nature and it's Japan. So I like to show everybody that. And this time we went, I've done this hundreds of times. This time we went, and it was very, very crowded. So the path walking back down again, lots and lots of people. Anyway, so I'm walking down chatting with Saban, and this white chick walking up the hill throws out her elbow, like right out, fully extends her elbow to try and hit me. And I'm like, I said to Saban, I said, that chick just tried to shoulder barge me like this. And then over my shoulder I hear, it's fucking two-way. And so Saban and I basically lost it. Hilarious. And then that became a running joke. Everything's, it's fucking two-way. And this was right about the time that I was going to get a two-way differential for my Altezza. So then it became, it's a fucking two-way. It's a fucking, so, anyway, that's the end of that story, but then this happened. Now, old mate Saban's a bit of an artist, so he went home and drew my every with me, the dog and the wife in the car, and he made me a shirt. It's a fucking two-way. Champion. I love the drawing, and the t-shirt's awesome. Thanks very much, Saban, for doing that for me. That is the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. Check out the Facebook page. Check out GarageK.com. See you in the next episode. Later.